Welcome back, and in the studio tonight we got a great guest, our Superintendent of Kenosha Unified School District, the one and only Dr. Sue Savaglio-Jarvis.
Thank you. Always good to be here, Jason.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, thank you so much.
You.
I know school started, it's rolling right along, but before we get into that, let's start off with for those who don't know about a superintendent of schools, what is the role and responsibility of a superintendent?
The superintendent is basically the individual who manages the whole district, and currently in Kenosha Unified we have approximately 20,000 students and 3,600 employees, and so my job is to make sure that they have what they need, when they need it, where they need it. I overlook several areas of the school regarding human resources, the budgeting, the communication experiences, teaching and learning, and school leadership, which is our 41 schools that we have. So my job is just to make sure everything is flowing really well. And when folks or staff need things, my job is also to hear what is it that we need to make sure that we're on target and on pace, and to really manage the district not only financially but educationally. And that's the biggest passion I've talked about before, that educationally we're very sound, and we're moving our children in the right direction.
Well, it was been toward the high schools, the improvements over there, just really great. And I believe it was under like an energy grant or dealing with that. Maybe you can expand on that, or any other new improvements in the district.
Yeah, great question. 3 of our schools have really gone under some of those improvements, and let me just start with actually Bradford. So if you haven't traveled past Bradford, I would encourage everybody to do so. You'll notice there are several entrances. The first one is the main entrance. Due to the security funds and energy efficient funds, we're able to do some grand entrances where there's a vestibule. So before you come in, you're kind of being monitored and checked before you get into the main hub of the building. And that's one of the things that some of our older schools didn't have. So if you were to walk in as a visitor, you would enter in and be into the building, and that is a security safety issue there. So very robust now entrance to get into the building, security's there, checkpoint, things like that. Also inside of Bradford, I don't know if you've ever been inside, but the Commons area used to have like a 3-step tier approach to go down in. Well, over the course of years, we've had injuries and things like that, so there's been some talk of leveling that. So now it's one big, nice common space for the students, and then they did some remodeling where they've opened up a little bit in that cafeteria. Again, more for visibility, which is part of that security plan, to be able to see students, hear, listen, and be available. At Bradford as well, on the back side, there used to be an area where the staff would enter, and again, that's taken a more safety precaution piece, kind of ADA accommodation going up into the school as well, where ramps, so individuals that need that type of access have a better access to the building as well. So great things. The pool, those that are past swimmers, the pool's, if you've been in that pool, the pool's finally had its upgrade, and I haven't seen it yet, but everybody's telling me water's cold still, but everybody's swimming well and working through it, but that was a beautiful upgrade. Tremper, they did finish some of their security entrances, so if you've been through Tremper as well, you'll see the same type of security vestibule up front where people have to go through. They've actually done some nice remodeling in their area of that career and tech. Those old automotive shops, if you will, they really revamped those so we can be more up to speed with the manufacturing courses that are starting to take on in the schools. And they did some other nice remodeling, and they have their pool, I think, is next year, so there's a little bit of rivalry going on. They'll get their pool down. Everybody's excited about that. And then Ruther was the other one that they revamped a little bit. On top of Ruther was like a greenhouse, so they spent some time remodeling that greenhouse, if you will, to make it more efficient. Harborside is the exponential learning school for Kenosha Unified, and they use that a lot, meaning the students use that a lot for a lot of their projects, so they were very excited to do that. New windows at Ruther and some other areas to just do some upgrades. So yeah, very busy, and thank you to our facilities and Patrick Fenimore, who I think you've spoken to for years.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it, but they surely accomplish a lot in a short period of time to make the schools look beautiful.
Yeah, I think the big improvement that people were talking about was the AC as well.
And AC, I guess I'm getting used to it now.
I don't know exactly.
Yes, AC at the high schools is what everybody's just very happy about, even the staff. And sometimes you walk through there, it's too cold. You're like, no, don't say that. But the students were very appreciative that they finally got AC.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. I know you also have a background in health and fitness, and you kind of want to see the curriculum as well. Is anything we can expand on that in the school systems?
I think in general that's going well. We haven't had any with the health piece in terms of. I always am an advocate for our students, our student lunches. You
Yeah.
know, I know that our country has been making a focus on that to have healthier student lunches for students,
Sure.
and always to watch our sugar and things like that. So we try to encourage that. And I'm very proud of me being a past gym teacher, physical education teacher in my past, just very, very proud of our staff that teaches physical education. When I go to observe, I'm seeing the kids moving and having fun and really enjoying all that they can engage them with. So, yeah.
You're also very, I always see you at the Readers or Leaders program
Yeah.
at the United Way,
Yeah.
which they celebrate, I think, Dr. Seuss's day. And but why do you feel that reading is so important to children?
Oh my gosh, reading is like the cornerstone for everybody to be successful. You know, we know that if students are not able to read by third grade, and we've heard that over and over, but it is true that the gap then definitely increases in their learning. So it's very, very important. I'm a big advocate of when our young pregnant mothers are pregnant and when they have their babies, that we encourage that reading, that we start developmentally getting books in front of children and just increasing their vocabulary so that they have that receptive language as well as expressive language. And once children at a young age are able to read and understand and start comprehending, the doors just open for them. It's just a skill set. So the earlier we can read and the more we can read to them, the more important it is. As well as I do believe children should be reading every night at home, depending on grade level. Even 5 minutes up to 15, up to 20, and 30, sometimes up in the upper grade levels, that they should be reading every night. I mean, it's just that piece that so much we do today is you have to read and you have to make sense of everything socially, politically, and you have to have that skill set in order to how to decipher through that, what's true, what's false, what's okay, I got it, and what can I infer from this? And so it's just a skill now that, I mean, it always has been, but in order to be successful, our students need to be reading by third grade.
Yeah, right. And I think, partially in this day and age with these, the cell phones and texting and stuff, even also writing, reading complete sentences or paragraphs, or all that comes into play, and you got to start early. And with the reading aspect, about any, I think maybe we touched on last time, but any after-school programs that the parents should be aware of that goes on at the
I think,
high school?
as a parent myself, my
Yeah.
daughter now is a freshman at Tremper High School.
Wow!
Yay,
Congratulations!
yay, yay.
Hey, on the right
Yeah,
path.
she's on the right path. As a parent, I think like you just mentioned with the social media, it's just, some of us older parents, I won't say we're old, but older, you have to keep up with a little bit, because so much of the information that schools sent out is via online, is via a website, is via some other means of communication, versus sometimes the old days where it would come home in a backpack and, oh, look, I got this, and you put it on your calendar. Now it's very, very fast. I'm just seeing things that you just have to be, they've had the Google Docs, they have Google Classrooms, they have Gmail. You have to have your Gmail and your email, and you have to just keep track of that. So I would just encourage parents, if you don't have those means, really to reach out to the school, because I found even myself, I had to reach, when is homecoming? When is, when is this a little bit? And they're more than happy to direct you to the site or share information with you. But there are, as we talked about, there are sports events happening right now all the time, basically Tuesday through Friday nights. Soon we'll have the conference, parent-teacher conferences coming up in October. So those are key ones that get communicated out. And of course, all of our music activities will start to occur November, December, towards those kind of winter concerts. So PTSA, PTOs, they're ongoing monthly meetings. They're happening all the time. Again, I think it's engaging in your school site and just finding out where can I find out what's happening in the school as a parent, and then setting it and making it a priority to attend.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And kind of like before, public can attend concerts and athletic events?
Public can, we encourage the public to attend. I think that's what makes Kenosha so great. Our community is just, when I think of the Bradford Tremper games, or the Indian Trail Bradford games, or the Indian Trail Tremper games, and you see so many people come out that may or may not have a child at the game, but they're in attendance just because they went to school there. I think that's the really unique thing that makes Kenosha very special. They have those connections, and I think they still come out just for the fun of it, just to go.
Yeah.
And celebrate.
I agree, because again, if they go into this, especially now with the high school's improvement, or if they've never been to the Bradford Stadium that was never there before, they can say, hey, this, there's been a lot of improvements and expansion here at the
I think it was 2 weeks ago, Tremper hosted one of the football groups that they won state or something like that. And so I was at that game, and that was my class or the class ahead of me. But anyway, it was interesting. They had 12 or 15 of the older football players come back to kind of get a little recognized at the football game at halftime. And some are from Kenosha and some aren't from Kenosha. So to hear them come back and talk about, I mean, when you think about Amici Field, what it was back 30, 40 years ago to where it is today, they were just like, wow, this is really neat. And that is, again, because of supportive community through our referendums and taxpayers recognizing that we care about our facilities and we want to make sure that they're well taken care of and are remodeled. So that was a neat one.
Absolutely. Okay, we're just winding up. Is there any other areas that you want to talk about or that come to
we had
mind?
some cool highlights. I think right now our Wisconsin Ford exam just released some information. Out of the 5 big urban school districts, I'd like to just celebrate that Kenosha in the area of English language arts, which is the reading and writing component. We are number 1. Our other colleagues are Racine, Madison, Green Bay, and Milwaukee. So Kenosha is number 1. That's the big 5. We kind of compare ourselves to them a little bit just because of demographics. And then in the area of math, our 2 grade levels that are number 1 are in 6th and 8th grade. So that's a positive. Madison is second below us. So we're really excelling academically, and like I had shared earlier, that is my passion, my focus for our instruction. And lastly, Lakeview. I don't know if you guys heard Lakeview Tech Academy.
Sure.
They just were recognized as a national blue ribbon school, and in November they'll be heading out to Washington, D.C. for their recognition, getting recognized in terms of that recognition. So. And so many things have been happening through all of our schools. Frank Elementary School just received an exponential learning certification, and that's years in the making for them. They were recognized by the Exponential Learning National Recognition Group, so they also are going to be recognized. So we have just truly tremendous staff working very, very hard for student growth, and that's what it's all about.
All right. Well, and on that note, may I say the KOST is just doing an excellent job in the community. We definitely got a great superintendent. Let's give a round of applause to our superintendent of KOST, Dr. Savaglio-Jarvis.
Thank you. And thank you for having me back, Jason. My pleasure. Always thank you.
Thank you. All right. And we'll be right back.